That was the beginning of my surfing experience. I was joining the service and being stationed in Florida. I wanted to get stationed in Dover so I could be close to home, but I got unfortunately stationed in Orlando, which turned out to be a fortunate experience because I was exposed to surfing. And this was 63. I guess we started off down there doing a lot of skin diving in Florida. And then we evolved to surfing. And of course we still kept our same wetsuits that we had when we were skin diving. Sometimes I'd work graveyard shift, which would be from midnight till 7 in the morning. And we'd get off work. I say we, it's my roommate Jerry Bowles. He was from California, so he was a big influence. And we would get off work at 7 o'clock in the morning, drive to the beach, an hour away, surf all day, come back, and go to work that night. So we would not get much sleep that whole period. But we'd steal a few hours here and there when the airplanes weren't taking off or were taking off or gone or something. But in the spare time over there at the hangar area, I would skateboard. Had my green fatigue uniform on, hat, you know, pants and jacket and all that stuff, and I had green tennis shoes. So I was still official in uniform, but skateboard in the hangar all night. During that era too, that it was the opening of the Sebastian Inlet Bridge. We were there for that dedication, and I think they had hot dogs and stuff like that, and we somehow managed to come around with a couple boxes of hot dog buns, and we were in heaven. We had oranges and hot dog buns for lunch that day. But there were some crazy rides back and forth to the beach. Amazing how we could make it. Driving down A1A towards Sebastian, and then going looking at the bridge. What was it, raining real hard or something? And the closer we got, we could see it was spray coming over the bridge. The waves were so big that they were breaking, and the spray was blowing over top of the bridge. That day we surfed, there's a little cove inside on the north side. We surfed 4 or 5 foot waves peeling that little tiny cove. Perfect. Most of the kids around there, and they were kids, we were a lot older, Jerry and I, 21 or whatever, but they were dependents from the Air Force Base at Patrick. And we just, as surfers do, meet somehow and started surfing together in front of the Royal Castle when it was just, there was nothing there, just palmetto bushes, and you could drive up to the beach and have a little parking area. We had a club, we called it the Mackay Surfing Association. And that was probably the biggest one in that area at that time. Well, I think I started making plans with Pat O'Hare of O'Hare Surfboards in Cocoa Beach before I got out of the service to come up here and open a surf shop in Rehoboth. And so I made plans with him and brought some boards back. And a friend of my father's built this building, and we started Surf Shop East there in Rehoboth. And it was decorated quite nicely, and a pretty neat surf shop. When I was in there, it looked pretty neat. Most of my time was in the water I thought I could sell surfboards in the water more than I could things in the shop. That was sort of the demise of that. I remember one time going to Florida in an 18-wheeler from a local canning company. We went down there, and on the return trip, we loaded something like 18 boards up in this 18-wheeler and brought them back illegally, I guess. I don't know anything about the shipping part, but the guy didn't want to stop or get stopped because he had these surfboards on, I guess, that weren't on his manifest or something. So that was an interesting trip. Back in those days, you sort of had to write letters to the manufacturer and see of surfboards and surfing equipment and all that stuff, and ask basically what they, how you would go about selling their equipment and stuff. And I wrote to Greg Noll and Hanson and Hobie and everybody else, and Greg answered back very quickly, and he said, "I'll give you a good deal on the boards if you just carry mine exclusively." So that's how that started with Greg. So the spring of '67, the shop officially opened. I don't think there was any margin, and what margin you had was usually eaten up in repairs, because the shipping service back in those days was horrible. It would be, I mean, you jump up and down if you got a board in that wasn't dinged or fin broken or this, that, or the other thing. But it was like any other time when you knew you got a shipment of boards in, everybody would gather around the shop and watch you pull them out of the boxes. It was high anxiety, I guess you would call it, for the shop owner. I do recall Paul Karras and I went to California to get some boards from Greg. Went to the factory and did all that stuff. But they got me on a flight coming back with umpteen thousand pounds of strawberries. And the boards and I were on the flight too, charged X amount of dollars per pound. I think it cost me $27 to fly back. And sat right behind the pilot for the whole trip. What an interesting flight that was. That was pretty much the end of the longboard era, and then we started getting shortboards. I got a call from Greg. He was shipping me this super short board. It was 7 foot 11 inches. It was called the Bug, Greg Noll Bug, and he shipped that. And I got it, and it must have been in the fall or something, because I immediately took off for Florida and took it down there to try to ride it. And it was a big storm surf, and that thing was horrible. The board was good. It was just trying to go down from a longboard to a short board in those conditions. But then pretty soon we started getting a lot of short boards, and it was different then because you never knew what you were going to get in. You never knew. It could be this shape. It could be that shape. It was amazing. Everybody was trying different things and trying to come up with the right combination of fins and shapes and this and that. And of course we had different prerequisites here on the East Coast for a good surfboard. So it was not only the evolution of shortboards throughout the world, it was on the East Coast also, trying to get us a specific board that would work back here. And we went through many models and designs. It's a very interesting time. Glad to be a part of that.
I was riding for Challenger surfboards, and I took my Challenger surfboard and sold it, bought myself a ticket, and had a little extra cash on a train. And we left Pensacola, Ken Roos and I, and took a train all the way up to Wilmington, Delaware. And Mike Lynn picked us up, and I thought I was going to New Jersey, but we turned around and went back into Delaware, down to Rehoboth Beach, Delaware, and went into Surf Shop East. And Skip Savage said you can, pretty much pick out any board you want. The next summer, I set my brother up, and one of my best friends, Brad English. They went up there, they loved Skip in Delaware, and then they came home in '69, and Skip couldn't take it. He came back with them and spent the winter of '69 with us. Skip was my friend, and so I was kind of, pouring my heart out to him. So he got the wheels rolling. He didn't really have the money to pay me like Challenger did, but he wanted me to be connected with him and Greg Noll, and so I said, well, try to get Greg Noll to do a model, and that way I can make a royalty off every one that sells, and that way I'll be able to be on Surf Shop East surf team and, Greg Noll and everything. And Skip approached Greg Noll, and Greg Noll flew to Pensacola, and we didn't have videos, and we didn't have any surf, and we showed him some Super 8 movies of me surfing, and he mainly did it on Skip's word, I'm sure. And he gave me my own model, and the model put me into the sense of being a professional surfer. That's how you made money as a surfer back then. By the end of 1970, Skip had gone back to Delaware, and business had gotten really hard for him. And he decided to get out of the surfboard business. So he called Ken Roos and I and told us we could have whatever was left in this little surf shop he had been renting, and good luck. It had been Greg Noll Surf Shop when Skip owned it, New Era Surf Shop when Jay Stone owned it, and then Innerlight Surf Shop when I took it over, and that was in the fall of 1971.
I just wanted to say that I think Yancy's and I friendship is a good friendship and a good caring type concern, and it makes it, it just lends itself to being easy to say, I love you, man.
I love you, Skip.
On the end of a phone conversation or leaving each other or something, just a simple, I love you. And both of us mean it.
Yep. Surfing definitely binds you. The love of the sea and the ocean and everything you go through to and to get there.
That too, but you have to be a person.
Yeah. Some of us are persons. Some of us aren't. But Skip and I have made it at least to that level.